Take a slow breath in and gently let it out. Tonight, we're going to explore something strange, something deeply human, something you've probably experienced but never fully understood. Nightmares, those unsettling dreams that wake you up in the middle of the night, your heart racing, your body tense, sometimes leaving you afraid to fall back asleep. But what if I told you nightmares are not just random stories your brain creates? They are signals, messages, and sometimes. Let's begin, slowly. Every night as you fall asleep, your brain doesn't simply shut down. In fact, it becomes incredibly active. Sleep happens in stages, and the most mysterious stage is called rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. During REM sleep, your brain activity looks almost identical to when you're awake. This is the stage where dreams happen, and nightmares live here. Now, here's something fascinating.
The part of your brain responsible for fear, a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala, becomes highly active during nightmares. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, becomes less active, which means your brain is generating fear without logic to calm it down. That's why nightmares feel so real, so intense, so uncontrollable. Imagine this. You're running, being chased, or trapped in a place you can't escape from. Even though your body is lying still in bed, your brain believes it's real. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, and sometimes you wake up suddenly, confused and afraid. But why does this happen? Why would the brain create fear while you're supposed to be resting? Scientists believe nightmares are part of an emotional processing system. Your brain is trying to process stress, trauma, anxiety. It's like your mind is replaying difficult emotions, trying to understand them, trying to release them. Think of nightmares as an emotional detox, but sometimes that process becomes too intense. People who experience high levels of stress or anxiety are more likely to have frequent nightmares. Even lack of sleep or irregular sleep patterns can increase their intensity. There's also something known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. In people with PTSD, nightmares are not just occasional, they can be repetitive, almost like the brain is stuck, reliving the same moment again and again. But nightmares aren't always linked to trauma. Sometimes they come from something much simpler, like watching something disturbing before bed, or even eating late at night, or changes in your body, such as fever or medication. And then there are recurring nightmares, the same dream repeating itself night after night. These often reflect unresolved emotions, something in your life that your mind hasn't fully processed. Now, here's something interesting. Children tend to have more nightmares than adults because their brains are still developing and they're learning how to process emotions for the first time. But adults experience something even more subtle, emotionally complex nightmares, dreams filled with anxiety, failure, loss, or regret. And sometimes you don't even remember the nightmare, but you wake up feeling uneasy, restless, as if something isn't right. So, can nightmares be controlled? In some cases, yes. There is something called lucid dreaming, where you become aware that you're dreaming, and sometimes even control the dream. Some therapists use a technique called imagery rehearsal therapy, where you rewrite the ending of a nightmare while you're awake. And over time, the brain begins to follow that new pattern. But even without special techniques, there are simple ways to reduce nightmares. Creating a calm environment before sleep, avoiding disturbing content, keeping a regular sleep schedule, and most importantly, allowing your mind to relax. Because the truth is, your brain is not trying to harm you. Even in nightmares, it's trying to help you, to process, to heal, to understand. So the next time you wake up from a nightmare, instead of fear, try curiosity. Ask yourself, what is my mind trying to tell me? And slowly,
Gently, let your body relax again. Let your breathing slow down. Let your thoughts drift. Because the night is not your enemy. It is a space where your mind speaks in a language only dreams can understand. And now, as everything becomes quiet again, allow yourself to drift, slowly, into a deeper, calmer sleep. And now, as we slowly reach the end of this journey, take another gentle breath in, hold it for just a moment, and let it go. You've traveled through the hidden world of nightmares, a place that often feels dark, confusing, and sometimes overwhelming. But now you understand something deeper. Nightmares are not just random fear. They are not meaningless shadows. They are your mind trying to speak. Think about that for a moment. Every image, every strange situation, every feeling of fear is being created by you, your own brain, your own emotions, your own memories. Even when it feels like something is chasing you, or watching you, or trapping you, it is still a part of you. And maybe that changes things. Maybe the next time you experience a nightmare, instead of trying to escape it, you can pause and quietly ask, what are you trying to show me? Because sometimes fear is not the enemy. Sometimes fear is a signal, a gentle or not so gentle reminder that something inside you needs attention. It could be stress that you've been ignoring during the day. It could be anxiety that quietly builds beneath the surface, or even emotions that you didn't have time to process. During the day, we stay busy. We distract ourselves. Work, conversations, screens, responsibilities. But at night, when everything becomes still, your mind finally has space to process everything you've been carrying. And that process is not always peaceful. Sometimes it becomes a nightmare. But here's something important to remember. Your brain is not trying to hurt you, even in its most intense moments, even in the darkest dreams. It is still trying to help you understand yourself. So instead of fearing nightmares, you can begin to see them differently, not as something to avoid, but as something to observe. Imagine watching your dream like a quiet observer, not running away, not reacting, just noticing. You might begin to see patterns, certain places, certain emotions, certain situations repeating again and again. And slowly, those patterns begin to make sense, because your mind speaks in symbols. It doesn't always use words. It uses images, feelings, sensations. A dark hallway might represent uncertainty. A shadow figure might represent fear of the unknown. Being chased might reflect something you're avoiding in real life. And once you begin to understand this language, nightmares lose some of their power. They become less about fear and more about awareness. Now, let's talk about something even deeper. The moment right after a nightmare. You wake up, your heart is beating fast, your body feels tense, and for a few seconds, you're not sure what's real and what isn't. That moment is powerful because in that moment, you are fully aware. And instead of letting the fear take over, you can gently bring yourself back. Feel your breath. Slow it down. Notice your body resting on the bed. Feel the safety of your surroundings. And remind yourself, it was just a dream. But more importantly, it came from me. There is nothing external, nothing truly chasing you, nothing watching you, nothing waiting in the dark. Only your mind, processing, learning, healing. And as you begin to accept this, something interesting happens. The fear begins to fade. Not instantly, not completely, but slowly, like darkness fading at sunrise. Because understanding always reduces fear. And now, let's go even deeper.
What if nightmares are not just about fear, but about growth? Think about it. Your mind creates intense situations, forces you to face them, and then brings you back, safe. It's almost like training, emotional training, preparing you to handle difficult emotions in your waking life. And maybe that's why people who reflect on their dreams often become more self-aware, more emotionally strong, more in tune with themselves, because they listen. They don't ignore what their mind is trying to say. And now, as you lie here, listening to this, your mind is already beginning to slow down. Your breathing is becoming softer, your thoughts more distant, and the idea of nightmares doesn't feel as heavy as before. Instead of something to fear, they become something to understand, something temporary, because every nightmare eventually ends, no matter how intense, no matter how real it feels, no matter how long it lasts, it always fades, and you always wake up, safe, here, in this moment. So tonight, as you prepare to sleep, where your mind and your body can finally rest, good night.